All right, so did you see those pictures of Sabrina Carpenter online with a ring?
Oh, yeah, the ones where, like, everyone thought she was engaged.
That's the one. Turns out, not so much. Just a fashion statement.
Goes to show you can't believe everything you see online, huh?
Exactly. And that actually kind of leads perfectly into our deep dive today. We're going beyond those kind of headlines, to really get to know Sabrina Carpenter.
Right, like not just the singer and the actor.
Exactly, the person. Someone who's dealt with a lot, controversies and all that, and turned it all into, like, fuel for her art.
For sure. It's fascinating, right? Like how she's managed to stay true to herself through it all.
Absolutely. That's kind of the thread we're going to be pulling on today.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. She started on Disney Channel.
Girl Meets World.
Yep. Which a lot of our listeners probably grew up watching. So that whole, like, girl next door image.
Oh, yeah. That can be really tough to shake off, especially for someone who wants to, evolve as an artist.
And Sabrina didn't just want to evolve. She went for it full force. Her music went from that, like, bubbly pop sound to something way more raw and personal.
It's true. You can really see her growth, like, through each album.
Totally. And that's where things get interesting, right? I mean, this isn't just a Disney star trying to break free from that mold. It's an artist making a choice, like deliberately choosing to take control of her own story.
Definitely. And you can really see that in what happened back in 2017 with the lawsuit, remember, against her former managers.
Oh, yeah. That wasn't just, like, legal stuff. It was about so much more than that.
It was about creative freedom, having control over her own work.
Totally. It was a power move, for sure. Imagine that. Like feeling betrayed by the very people who are supposed to be guiding your career.
Absolutely. And all that frustration, that sense of defiance, it's like it comes through so clearly in her song, Sue Me.
Which, by the way, she released around that same time.
Yep. Talk about turning lemons into lemonade, right? More like a whole declaration, if you ask me.
Yeah. To me, that song is like a turning point, a line in the sand, like, this is my voice, deal with it.
Exactly.
Let's actually listen to a little bit of Sue Me just to get a feel for that energy.
Okay.
Wow. Right. And Sabrina, well, she definitely hasn't shied away from those conversations. She's had criticism throughout her career, and she just keeps going.
It's like it doesn't even faze her.
What's fascinating is that she keeps evolving, never compromises her vision, even if it stirs things up a bit.
Yeah.
Okay, let's switch gears for a second and talk about, how she turned Heartbreak into music, specifically with that whole love triangle thing back in 2021 and her album, Emails I Can't Send.
Oh, that album hit hard for a lot of people.
It did, turning pain into something creative. You think about a song like Skin, it's all about that raw honesty about her feelings.
Yeah, it connected with so many people because, we've all been there. Heartbreak, trying to pick yourself back up, it's universal.
Totally. It's like she was able to say what so many of us were feeling but couldn't put into words.
Exactly.
And it goes even deeper than just sharing her experience, right? It creates this space where people can connect, empathize, like, hey, I'm not alone in this.
For sure. I think we should actually hear a bit of Skin to really get a feel for that raw emotion. What do you think?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Chills every time.
Right.
There's so much strength in her being so vulnerable, don't you think?
Absolutely. And that vulnerability, it ties back into her message of being authentic. Like, she's not afraid to be herself, flaws and all. And that's what makes her music so relatable. It hits home.
Makes you think, how has she managed to build such a strong fan base? Like, what's the secret?
That's a great question. And one we'll be digging into more in the next part of our deep dive. Welcome back. Before the break, we were talking about Sabrina turning heartbreak into art with Emails I Can't Send.
Yeah. And it really gets you thinking about how she's built such a loyal fan base, It's pretty amazing when you think about it. Started on Disney, all that public drama, changed her sound completely.
And yet, her fans are still right there with her every step of the way. It's incredible. I think a big part of it is that she's so willing to let people in, She's not just presenting this perfect image. She shares her struggles, her insecurities, her growth, like all of it.
Realness, right.
Yeah, it's magnetic.
Totally. It's like she's inviting us along on this journey with her.
Exactly. And that creates such a strong connection. Plus, she really nurtures that connection, Think about how she interacts with her fans on social media. Responding to comments, bringing them on stage at concerts.
It's a two-way street.
Exactly. It's not just one-sided admiration,
It makes her fans feel seen, like she actually hears them, which a lot of artists, they kind of miss that.
Definitely. And we can't forget the music itself. I mean, her songs are packed with these deeply personal lyrics. They resonate with so many different emotions.
Oh, yeah.
Whether you're going through a breakup, dealing with self-doubt, celebrating your strength, like there's a Sabrina Carpenter song for it, you know?
Yep. It's true. You know what's interesting to me? Her style, how it's changed over time.
Yeah.
It plays a role in that connection, too, you know? She's gone from that girl next door look to something so much edgier, more experimental. And her fans love it.
It's like a visual representation of her evolution as an artist. And it really speaks to this generation, you know?
Yeah.
This generation that's all about being yourself, challenging the norms.
It's not just about looking cool. It's about expressing yourself.
Exactly. And seeing her take those risks with her fashion, it inspires her fans to do the same thing in their own lives.
Totally. It's a powerful message, especially for young people who are still figuring themselves out.
Yeah, like how do I want to present myself to the world? She's a great example.
Speaking of powerful messages, we got to talk about Sabrina's impact beyond music. She's not just entertaining, you know. She's using her platform to advocate for causes she believes in.
Oh, absolutely. Mental health awareness, LGBTQ plus rights, body positivity.
Yeah. These issues that are so important to her generation. And she's not afraid to speak up.
It's like she's saying, hey, this is what I believe in, and if you're with me, let's do something about it.
Exactly.
Which is super inspiring, especially for all those young people who look up to her. She's not just a singer, not just an actress. She's a role model.
Yeah. Okay, so we've covered a lot here. From Disney Channel to lawsuits, changing music, vulnerability, bold style choices, using her voice for good.
It's been quite the journey.
It has. So what does it all mean? What's the bigger picture of Sabrina's journey?
That is the question, isn't it? I think her career, it really shows the power of authenticity, of resilience, of constantly growing.
And it makes you wonder, you know, what can we learn from her journey? How can we take those same principles, the authenticity, the resilience, the growth, and apply them to our own lives?
That's such a good point. Sabrina's story, it reminds us that it's okay to change, to let go of old versions of ourselves, to embrace what we didn't expect.
And to never be afraid to say what you believe, even if it ruffles some feathers along the way.
Exactly. It's all about staying true to who you are. Even when life throws you curveballs, it's not always easy.
So you've been listening to our deep dive on Sabrina Carpenter. We've talked about her music, her style, the controversies, her advocacy work. But there's one last piece we haven't really talked about. What will her legacy be?
That's the question, isn't it? And it's one we'll be unpacking in the final part of our deep dive.
Welcome back. So we've been on this amazing journey through Sabrina Carpenter's world, right?
We have, from those early days on Disney to like chart-topping success. It's been pretty wild.
It has. And we've seen how she's dealt with all these challenges, reinvented herself, stayed true to her art, like the whole thing.
That's inspiring.
It is.
Yeah.
But now that we're like at the end of our deep dive, I got to ask, what do you think her legacy will be?
Oh, that's the big question, isn't it? Always tough to say for sure, especially with someone who's still, got so much of her career ahead of her.
Right.
But I think we're already seeing some clues, like signs of what her impact is going to be.
What jumps out at you?
I think it's how she really embodies like the whole spirit of this generation. Fearless, independent, unapologetically herself,
Yeah.
Doesn't shy away from tough conversations, like whether it's mental health or societal expectations or creative freedom.
You're right. She doesn't just talk about it. She lives it.
Yeah.
And that really connects with her fans,
Definitely. They see her as a role model, like for being authentic, accepting yourself, all that.
It's bigger than just the music or the acting, right? It's like a whole mindset.
Totally. She's empowering her fans to be themselves, to like challenge what's expected, use their voices to make a difference.
And that's something that goes beyond just one generation, don't you think? I mean, that message of like being strong and reinventing yourself, it speaks to anyone who's ever felt like they don't fit in,
Absolutely. I think that's why she appeals to such a broad audience. It's not just like typical teen pop star stuff.
It's deeper.
Yeah. She's connecting with people on this like really human level, shared experiences, vulnerability.
Makes you think, what kind of impact is she going to have on the music industry overall? Like, do you think she's paving the way for a whole new generation of artists? The ones who are more real, more outspoken, more willing to break the mold?
I think she's a part of it, definitely. There's this whole wave of young artists who are changing what it means to be a pop star. They're not just performers, they're
Right.
activists, entrepreneurs, thought leaders, and they're using their platform to create real change in the world.
It's so exciting to think about what she'll do next, She's already done so much, but it feels like she's just getting started.
Totally agree. Her ambition and creativity, it's undeniable. I bet she'll keep surprising us. Pushing boundaries, trying new things in music, in acting, who knows what else.
Well, as we wrap up our deep dive here, I want to leave you with something to think about. How has Sabrina Carpenter's journey inspired you? What can you take from her story? All that resilience, reinvention, staying true to herself. Like, what does it mean for you?
Yeah, it's been amazing exploring her world, hasn't it? And hopefully you've all enjoyed it as much as we have. Thanks for listening, everyone.